silence, whichever is your choice. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, I'm on the wrong meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of last week?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve appropriations ordinance number 44?
I move we approve ordinance number 44.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Declare the public input session open for any items not on the agenda. Do you have something that's not on the agenda? You want to come up here, tell me who you are, and go ahead and talk.
Brian Gearing. I live right off of First Street on a cul-de-sac, just a couple blocks from the high school. And what I'm concerned about is there's been a lot this year of, I don't know how many of them are approved, how many of them aren't. I'm going to call them parades. I don't know that that's the right term, but you get people driving 10 mile an hour down First Street, which number one blocks access to our cul-de-sac, so you can't get on or off of our road. There was one on Friday, wasn't continuous, but lasted about an hour and a half. And within 20 feet of my home, people are revving engines, honking horns to the point where I have to raise my voice to speak to my own spouse in my own home. I called the police department to ask if they'd, just come. I don't care if people display. That's not my grievance here. But when you call and say, I can't have a conversation on a telephone in my own house, and the response you get is, well, that's people's First Amendment rights to express themselves. I've been pulled over for honking my horn to wave at somebody. Probably 19 years ago. It's been a while. But I think the issue still stands. My understanding is that the use of a horn is for emergency communication, not just for fun. And for an hour and a half of disrespectful noise to be made in front of my house seems like something that maybe should be considered, that ordinances be rewritten so that a person be able to enjoy the house that they bought and pay taxes on. So
What's your address again?
720 Somerset Place, corner of First Street and Somerset cul-de-sac.
I will say that there were 5 different political rallies of both major parties on Friday. And at least one, maybe 2 of them, were wanting to drive through town. We did not give a formal approval to a parade, but we said if you drive around town, you have to comply with all the traffic ordinances. And so that's what that was. I don't know if it lasted that long. That's surprising.
Particularly the one was Friday, was almost an hour and a half.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, is that would have been the one.
Okay. And then there was another one, of course, on Saturday, and that was maybe, 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then there's been others not politically affiliated earlier this year. And I understand that people have good intentions, but
The only one we usually approve that would come down close to your corner is the one at the end of school when the seniors drive from what is now Genesis Health parking lot, and some of them have farm and piece equipment and everything else, and they drive that last drive to the high school.
sure.
And that's usually 9:30 or so in the morning.
But so I'm curious why the police department claims that the city has not, they can't do anything because the city has not got an ordinance saying they can. That there is nothing on the books about horns, which again seems interesting because I've been pulled over for that exact same thing 2 decades ago. But
I
And-
can't,
and
I
we
can't,
had,
I
we had
can't,
some of them this morning, this spring as well. Like I say, they weren't politically affiliated. I think it was people with good intentions, but driving down the cul-de-sac and then not realizing it's a cul-de-sac, getting stuck there, and it's just interesting. And so I was thinking that maybe something could be considered for that, or communication made with the police chief so that they feel empowered to have the right to try to make it so that I can enjoy an afternoon on my own property.
well, we do have a noise ordinance, and the problem with the noise ordinance, they have to be there right as it's happening.
Which
Uh, Maybe the city attorney,
If they would try, I mean, I asked, if you come park at this address, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, and they flat out refuse. They say that there is there's nothing that they're allowed to do, because it's expression of First Amendment speech.
right.
So,
Well,
I
in
don't wanna
this,
take all day, I just.
okay, yeah, in this case, we did know that they would make a figure eight parade through town.
Sure.
So, wasn't thinking as much when we said that, you know, you abide by all the, transportation rules, but, if, they were gonna go by another political rally of the other side, and I had asked them not to blow their horns and rev their engines to create animosity, with the other group. So,
I
I
don't
don't know
think
whether
there
that
were.
happened or not, but I didn't get a call.
Yeah, there weren't any two groups that I'm aware of. It
Okay,
was just
yeah.
constant for,
Yeah, well, there were two
Two-thirds of a
groups,
mile.
but not in your area.
Right,
They went
right,
by
right.
another area where the other group was.
gotcha.
Okay,
Anyway,
all right,
yeah, I don't wanna
thanks.
take all
Well,
day. Thank
all right, thank you. Anybody else on public input?
Go ahead.
My name is Cutter Ross. I live with Ryan, same address. Basically, same thing. Not to hit a dead horse, but basically, especially what we saw in Texas this weekend with those type of rallies in vehicles. I mean, they're not safe. It's you're in a moving vehicle. It is really quick and easy for things to escalate in a way that nobody initially intended. So I think from a safety for the community standpoint, I'm essentially asking again for some sort of ordinance against said rallies, so that way our police department can control those better and easier management, so that way they stay civil, as well as some sort of noise ordinance that our police department can actually enforce, because it is very frustrating as a resident and taxpayer to be told by our police department that they do not feel that they have the control or laws to be able to enforce any sort of noise ordinance.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We do have a noise ordinance, and there are some things we can do, but we'll take your information into consideration of how does that apply, okay? All right, anyone else? Okay, I'll declare anything from the bench.
No, I don't have anything.
I'll declare the public input session closed. We do have a deal later on COVID, and I will put the map. For those of you who don't like it, it's not disappearing. I'm still gonna talk about where we're at. So, I'll do it later on though, when it's, on the, agenda. So I'll declare the public input session, closed. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as distributed?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'd like to call on Tim Meyer, Chad Hitt, whichever one.
Good morning, Mayor and
Morning,
Commissioners.
Tim.
Here this morning, asking the City Commission to pass a resolution allowing us to move forward with issuing bonds for the South Wellfield. Just a little bit of background information. We had initially planned on probably issuing debt next year, and probably the bulk of the construction next year, 2022, not 2021. And we started looking at it just given the low interest rates. we had our financial advisor do an evaluation. He came back and basically said, you know, given the historic low interest rates, he feels like it's prudent to go ahead and move forward with the financing of it. And so we would actually do the financing in early 2021. I think the bulk of the construction would still happen in 2022. We probably would do a fair amount of the preliminary work and maybe some of the well field work in 21. But if we get the interest rates that we're looking at, we're going to save between $300 and $400,000 per year over what the engineering estimate was, and that happened. The engineering estimate was performed in early 2019. So these are historic low times. We just want to make sure we can take advantage of those because it is going to be a substantial savings to the customer.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay? All right. Anybody have any questions for Tim? Okay. I want to move to adopt Resolution 20-11, a resolution declaring it necessary to repair, alter, extend, reconstruct, enlarge, or improve the water utility system of the city of McPherson, Kansas, to issue water system revenue bonds for the purpose of paying all or a portion of the costs thereof and related bond reserves and financing costs, and providing for the giving of notice of said intention, and authorize the mayor to sign the resolution.
I'll second that.
Okay, before I ask for a vote, could you give us the size of the bond issue and how many years that we're talking about so that it's out there for the public record?
The project is $27.62 million. That's the estimate. We intend to finance that over 30 years. We also intend to borrow for the bond reserve account. I can't tell you the
I
exact
think
amount.
about 2 million.
Yeah, so it's around $29 million
Yeah.
is the total amount. But the project is 27.62.
And
So
give a little bit of, maybe a little bit of background on what this project really, what it is, or
Yeah.
you're going from A to B or whatever, if you would, please.
no, and it's a project we've been talking about for several
Sure.
years. We put a flyer in everybody's bill last June to really kind of discuss the project. What we're trying to do is ensure a long-term water supply for the community. Our wells currently are all around McPherson. They're in the McPherson intensive groundwater use area. And since 2000, we've seen a decline in the aquifer in the area. So what we're trying to do is get a water source that's outside of McPherson. And so about 2012, we purchased properties roughly 6 miles north of Burton. And we pursued water rights in that area. We were able to finally procure those in 2017. And so this project would put in 3 wells on that property. And then we'd have about a 20-mile pipeline to get the water to McPherson. Once it gets here, it is high in iron and manganese, higher than the acceptable levels or the recommended levels. And so we're going to have to put in some treatment for that, and we would do that here in McPherson. And then we would mix that, blend that with the existing water supply that we have. That's really what the project is.
Okay.
So, but it should set McPherson up from a water supply perspective, you know, for the next 50 to 100 years.
Good.
So,
Yeah. And I think the rechargeability of the new wells versus what we have.
where we're actually installing the wells or the property, it's in the sand hills. In that area, the ground is not good enough to develop for irrigation for farm use, and that's why the water's available. It's about 1.5 miles to 2 miles south of the Little Ark River. Depth of water is 20 feet. Every time the Little Ark River floods, the aquifer fills back up. You know, we've seen that. We've been taking groundwater depth of water measurement levels for the last 3 or 4 years, and the aquifer may vary, you know, 10 feet over that period of time, but every time we have a significant rain event, it just fills back up. And so we think this is a very sustainable source. Unlike here in McPherson, if we see a change in elevation of 1 or 2 feet, that is significant because depth of water here is about 90 feet. Down there, the water table is extremely shallow, and so it fills right back up. the saturated thickness of the aquifer down there is, 20 feet all the way down to 200 feet, 180 foot of saturated thickness. That's not what we see here in McPherson. A lot of our wells have less than 100 feet. So it's a great area from a long-term water supply perspective. I think it's very sustainable. Unlike here in McPherson, if all the water rights pump the amount of water they can, the aquifer is going to go down. We have too many water rights given the resource, to be quite honest. So it's I think it's a good opportunity for McPherson to secure water. So
Yeah. And you might say something about this is looking to the future. You said, up to 100 years. But this is not that we have a current water need. This is
we're not
increases our reserve
Yeah,
30-40% for the future.
we're not in a crisis mode. I think there are some communities that probably get to that point. We're not to that point. We still have water around McPherson. It's just, again, if we all pump our water right, like we did from about 2000 to probably 2013, the aquifer goes down. We lost 10 foot of elevation in the aquifer. And even then, we weren't going to see an impact to our wells until probably 2035, maybe 2040. And that would have been, if we would have stayed on that same trend line, that's when some of our wells, we would have had to reduce pumping because the pond's getting almost empty. We would have had to slow down how much we were pumping. So it's just a good opportunity, I think, for
Yeah.
McPherson.
Well, thanks for a thorough update.
Oh, sure.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we
No,
have,
it's a significant investment for the community, and I understand that, but I do think having a long-term water supply is extremely important.
right,
It is.
better to move when you don't need it than when you do.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion that's been made and a second. All those in favor of resolution 2011, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous, passes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming in.
You bet.
Okay, community building, Nick McQueen.
Morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Thank you for bringing this up last week when I couldn't be here. Just like to get it on the schedule now if we can. Red Cross has had to for their January 1 to move their community blood drive just because of COVID. The place they were going to use isn't letting them use it, so we just need to open the community building if we can for January 18th and 19th for them to use and waive the rental fees.
Okay, I'd like to move to approve the use of the McPherson Community Building for American Red Cross Community Blood Drive to be held January 18th and 19th, 2021.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. I move that we waive the application rental fee for the use of McPherson Community Building by the American Red Cross for a community blood drive on January 18 and 19 of 2021.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks,
There you
Nick.
go.
Okay, call on Chief Weisman, Fire Department matters.
Morning.
Morning.
Got several items for you this morning. First item, Chris Bruton, Fire Department Executive Assistant, submitted a resignation effective November 5th, 2020. We'd like to say thank you to Chris for 10 years of service to the city of McPherson. We request a motion to accept the resignation of Chris Bruton effective November 5th.
We do appreciate the 10 years that Chris has put in, and I move to accept the resignation of Christina Bruton, Fire Department Executive Assistant, effective November 5th, 2020.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next item with that, the Fire Department Executive Assistant job description has been reviewed and modified to an Administrative Assistant, no pay grade change, and we left it in F. Staff recommends approval of the job description for Fire Department Administrative Assistant and permission to begin the hiring process to fill that position, please.
And the changes, if you read them, were made to things that we will not require and a few things that we will require involving training and supplies. So that was what the chief is referring to. I'll move to approve the job description for the position of Fire Department Administrative Assistant as presented and begin hiring process to fill the position.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Deputy Chief Darby wrote and applied for a TC Energy grant for commercial firefighter gear dryer. This will allow us to get our personnel back into operational status sooner. Due to COVID-19, we've been utilizing gowns for PPE on incidents. Due to the supply of gowns, we were forced to purchase reusable gowns, which takes time to dry after every use. We wash them after every time we use them. So the fire department personnel are required to wash this gear after every structure fire or any time come in contact with bloodborne pathogens or hazmat. We were awarded the grant to purchase a commercial gear dryer for the amount of $7,519. We request a motion to accept the grant for TC Energy for a commercial firefighting gear dryer in the amount of $7,519 and request authorization to purchase the equipment. I'll talk about that one here in a second.
Okay, I'll move to accept the grant from TC Energy for a commercial firefighting gear dryer in the amount of $7,519 and request authorization to purchase the equipment.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So the next one is the gear dryer. You'll see that it's $8,150. They're not going to pay the shipping for it. So that's why you see the difference in what the grant was and then this. So utilizing the TC grant, we request approval to purchase the Ram Air gear dryer from Danco Emergency Equipment for an amount not to exceed $8,150.
Okay, I'll move to approve the purchase of the Ram Air Gear Dryer from Danco Emergency Equipment for an amount not to exceed $8,150, which the city paying the shipping in that amount.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next item, the fire department applied for a Williams Energy grant for community outreach. We received a check from Williams for $1,000. We would like to publicly say thank you to Williams Field Service Group LLC. Request a motion to accept the grant for $1,000.
I'll move to accept the grant from Williams Field Service Group LLC for community outreach in an amount of $1,000.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Should have told Randy we needed to ship a dryer.
Yeah.
The fire department responded to a crop fire on October 8th, 2020. The combine had started a soybean field on fire. The fire was spreading to the north at a rapid rate due to wind conditions. The house and numerous outbuildings were threatened by the fire. In order to access the field to prevent the fire from advancing, crews decided to enter the field through a ditch. The departure angle of the ditch was very steep, and the tailboard of engine 2 subsequently was damaged due to that. The apparatus was taken to Hayes Fire and Rescue for immediate repairs. The total cost and damage was $2,986.10, and our insurance deductible was $1,000. We received a check for the balance of $1,986.10. We request a motion to approve payment to Hayes Fire and Rescue Sales and Service for an amount not to exceed $2,986.10.
I'll move to approve the payment of Hayes Fire and Rescue Sales and Service for repairs to engine 2 for an amount not to exceed $2,986.10, of which we will be reimbursed by our insurance $1,986.10.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The last item is the fire station alerting. We've been dealing with this for a couple of years now, unfortunately. The fire station alerting system within the fire department was functioning intermittently. Commission approves phase 1 of the replacement at the end of 2018, and phase 2 is the dispatch side of the alerting system that was approved by Commission in 2019. The system was purchased, programmed, and scheduled for install. The install was slated, however, there were initial delays from the radio company, and then COVID-19 hit, so they wouldn't allow us in. The company refused to process the payment until installation, even though we had the product and it was programmed. The check was voided and returned to the city. The installation of this phase will allow the system to become fully operational and integrate with the county's new radio system. We're going to request a motion to issue a new check for payment to mobile radio service in the amount of $36,229.40 to install the dispatch side, which should be taking place within the next week. However, the check that they originally sent, they voided and sent it back because it said void after 90 days.
Okay, I think we're okay with finance and everything, so I'll move to approve payment of Mobile Radio Service, Inc. for equipment necessary to install the dispatch side of the fire station alerting system for amount not to exceed $36,229.46.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Police Department, Chief Golden.
Morning, Mayor Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning.
I have two items this morning. The first one is to motion to accept the resignation of Sean Heim, a school crossing guard, effective October 30th, 2020, and continue seeking crossing guards for the city.
I'll move to accept the resignation of Sean Hine, school crossing guard, effective October 30th, 2020, and continue seeking crossing guards for the city.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The second item I have is information. The McPherson Police Department will be raising funds for the Blue Santa program. The money collected will go to gifts for children and families of McPherson during the holidays. This year has been very difficult for so many McPherson families, and as a way to raise money, the McPherson Police Department officers and staff will donate $25 each to participate in No Shave November. Anyone wishing to donate new toys, new clothing, or money can call the McPherson Police Department. Civilian staff's also dressed down Friday, and for the female officers, we've talked about nail polish and colors, and we'll make some exceptions for them. But it's a great program. It really brings a lot of joy to the kids in the community and families that are having it rough, especially with this 2020 that we've had. So,
Good.
just wanted to give you that information. I don't know if that's something that needs to be approved or not, but
No.
I think we're good.
Okay.
All right?
Internal thing. That's
Yeah.
fine. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, Public Lands, Wayne Burns.
Morning.
Morning.
On May 15th, 2017, Commission approved and authorized the renovation of the Wall Park Tennis Complex. During the construction and demolition, the east side irrigation system was destroyed, removed, and never reconnected. Staff is requesting to restore the irrigation system on the east side of the tennis complex.
I'll make the motion to accept the quote from Wetlands Irrigation and Turf LLC, Galva, Kansas, for design and installation of a sprinkler system on the east side of the Wall Park Tennis Complex for an amount not to exceed $1,950.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Public Works, Jeff Woodward.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Jeff.
First item I have for your consideration is out of the wastewater treatment facility. Suspended solids in-basin analyzers. We have 4 suspended solid in-basin analyzers, 1 sensor, and one in each of the basins. We also have 1 sensor in the WAS line. We typically have 2 in inventory for replacement when 1 goes out. Average lifespan typically is 2 to 4 years. We need to order 2 analyzers for our inventory. We received a quote for 2 Solexl XV 423.99.10 100 for $49.15 each, plus an estimated $200 in handling.
I move that we approve the purchase of 2 Soltex in-basin suspended solid analyzers from Hatch Corporation for an amount not to exceed $11,000 delivered.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The next item again is out of the wastewater treatment facility, cationic polymer. Polymers used at the wastewater treatment plant to chemically break the bond between sludge and water, allowing them to separate. This process is called flocculation. We received a quote from Fort Bend Services Incorporated to purchase 4 2,300-pound totes of cationic polymer at $1.64 per pound for a total cost of $15,088 delivered. We receive a price break if we order at least 3 totes.
And I move that we approve the purchase of 4 totes of catalytic polymer from Fort Bend Services Incorporated for a cost not to exceed $15,088.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Once every 3 years, we schedule maintenance root control for our problem sewer main areas. We have a quote from Duke's Root Control for a foam treatment for an estimated $3,500. The cost proposal is to apply root control to 2,458 linear feet of sewer line. We've used this service with good results in the past. Final quantities and total cost may vary slightly based upon actual measured lengths obtained during the work. We currently contract with Duke's Root Control to treat approximately 19,000 feet of sewer main. The first treatment is only guaranteed for 2 years, and this, the 2,458 linear feet, is on the 2-year cycle. Next year, when our regular cycle comes due, Dukes will treat this 2,458 linear feet at 46 cents per foot. This will then allow and get all of our sewer mains on the same schedule.
Good, sounds good. I move that we approve payment to Duke's Root Control Incorporated to treat various sewer lines for a total cost not to exceed $3,500.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Again, out of the wastewater treatment facility, on October 5th, 2020, the commission approved the installation of the lifting trolley in the Headworks building by Don Leonard Construction for a cost not to exceed $45,188. The lifting equipment is necessary to lift and install the new 900-pound, 18-foot heliosieve screen shaft when it becomes necessary to replace one of the 2 existing ones. If you recall, one of the heliosieve screen shafts broke last year. Staff with some outside help was able to weld it in place. The welded one is still functioning, but it's probably on borrowed time. Replacements of the heliosieve screen shaft was overlooked in the original design of the building. With material costs skyrocketing between the original bid and the time of award, Donlinger is asking for an additional $1,712 to cover their increased cost. The new total cost will be $46,900.
I move that we approve increasing the approval to $46,900 for hiring Donlinger Construction Wichita to install a lifting trolley in the Headworks building of the wastewater treatment facility. This cost is $1,712 over the $45,188 approved on October 5 of 2020.
And I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next item is on the Haltz Area Drainage Project with the Cornejo and Sons LLC contract change order number 7. This change order adjusts all sanitary sewer bid items from what was estimated on the plans to what was required to construct the project. The net increase to the adjustments for all sanitary sewer bid items is $200 addition to the contract.
I move that we approve change order number 7, Cornejo and Sons LLC for the Hull Street Drainage Project to adjust all sanitary sewer items in what was required to construct the project for an amount not to exceed $200 and authorize the mayor to sign the change order.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next is on the Chestnut Street Improvement Project, change order number 4 with Kansas Paving, adjustment of final quantities. On September 21st, the commission approved change order number 3 in the amount of $74,419.50 on the Chestnut Street project. Change order 3 was the worst case scenario regarding the mill and overlay portion of the project. Chestnut Street was so uneven it was difficult to predict the tons required to complete the overlay. Change order number 4 adjust all the items on the current contract to what was required to construct the project for a total reduction of $27,479.50. The majority of this reduction was the additional asphalt added for change order number 3.
I move that we approve change order number 4 with Kansas Paving for the Chestnut Street Improvement Project to adjust final quantities, which reduces the contract amount by $27,479.50, and authorize the mayor to sign the change order.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Finally, I'd like to give you an update on the construction projects that we're finishing up at this time. First is an update on the Hardup Elizabeth Street reconstruction project. All punch list items were completed, and the project was accepted. BPU is currently installing streetlights, which they anticipate will be completed by the end of next week. There are no street closures associated with this project. Next is an update on the Holtz area drainage project. There are no changes here. We're down to one item on the final punch list, and that is touch-up of the paint on some of the handrails needed. The weather last week was a little too cold to paint. Next is an item, update on the Chestnut Street improvement projects. The final walkthrough was completed last week, and the final punch list was given to the contractor. They anticipate coming in this week to complete those items. And the next one is the reconstruction of the 800 block of Wheeler Street. This is a project we're doing in-house with the street department. The street department has Wheeler Street closed between First and Anna. The rock base is complete, and the forming of the curb has started. So good progress is being made on that project. And finally, I'd like to remind everyone that weekly construction updates, road closures and detours, and planned road closures and planned detours are available on the city's website at www.mcpcity.com. That's all I have, unless there are any specific questions.
Thanks, Jeff, you did good. Call on Nick Gregory for the administrative report.
First item for you, if you'll remember several months back, the community Thanksgiving dinner group came and indicated that they did plan to go ahead and have the community Thanksgiving dinner, but that they plan to do it in a little different format. They plan to do a curbside pickup instead of a actual offering meals at the community building. They have included, they formally submitted their event planning form, and you have a copy of it with you, as well as a diagram for how they plan to handle the traffic flow for this. It'll include closing Ash Street from the railroad tracks to Kansas Avenue, and Euclid and Marlin Streets from Main to Elm Street to allow for pickup at the south gymnasium doors of the community building. As far as the community Thanksgiving dinner, I think everybody's reviewed this, and I think it's acceptable traffic control situation for staff, and we make the recommendation that we go ahead and consider approving this event.
I'll make the motion to approve the community Thanksgiving dinner to be held on Thursday, November 26, 2020, from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., utilizing the McPherson Community Building from November 24th, November 26, 2020, and to close Ash Street from the railroad tracks to Kansas Avenue and Euclid and Marlin Streets from Main Street to Elm Street during the hours of 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the 26th.
I second that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
All right.
I would also make the motion to waive the application rental fees for the use of the McPherson Community Building for the Community Thanksgiving Dinner, November 24th to November 26, 2020.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next item, annually, the various providers of public transportation services in McPherson and in the surrounding areas are required to make application to the Kansas Department of Transportation for inclusion of federal grant funding for the various transportation programs which are offered. The providers included in that are the McPherson County Council on Aging, MCDS, Disability Supports of Great Plains, and the City of McPherson through our taxi voucher program. Applications for the upcoming fiscal year are due here in November. There are several items that are being considered for approval on an annual basis in conjunction with the submittal. Staff is requesting that City Commission give authorization for Mayor Brown to sign and execute several items related to this application, and those include the first being a memorandum of understanding between the City of McPherson and the McPherson County Council on Aging. They actually submit the application, so the memorandum is one we have every year that basically allows them to submit on our behalf, and that we promise to follow all the rules associated with the program. Also, a letter from the City of McPherson authorizing the matching funds operation of the taxi program, just basically saying that we'll match our 30%, which we're required to do. The caveat with that is that between now and the end of the fiscal year, that we didn't actually have to pay the 30% because that was part of federal stimulus that came out as it relates to that. So, but we will promise to do that. We do have it budgeted each year. And then also letters of support for other agencies that are using the 5310, 5311 public transportation funds, which I read earlier, MCDS, Disability Sports, and McPherson County Council on Aging.
I move that we authorize Mayor Tom Brown to sign various items related to the application for Section 5310 and Section 5311 Public Transportation Grant Funding, including a renewal memorandum of agreement, commitment letter, and various support letters for the city transportation providers.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next item, we actually brought this not too long ago that we made our request number 2, but this year McPherson Housing Coalition received $192,353 in grant funds from KDHE due to COVID-19. There was no match required this year. McPherson Housing Coalition was allotted $114,000 for rapid rehousing applications, $65,500 for homeless prevention applications, and then another $2,660 for technology and training, as well as $9,139 for grant administration. The reimbursement request that we're bringing today brings the total amount for the 2020 fiscal year to be $23,668.41, which equates to 12% of the total award of $192,000 plus. ESG, as a reminder, does stand for Emergency Solutions Grant, and the grant is funded through KDHE, as I mentioned, and administered by the City of McPherson for the benefit of the Housing Coalition for their homeless prevention programs and activities.
I'll make the motion to approve payment to McPherson Housing Coalition for the ESG grant reimbursement request number 3 in the amount of $7,893.86, and authorize the mayor to sign the related documents.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
There are a number of wage considerations for approval. These are all based upon the step increases that are recommended based upon anniversary hirings. The first being Britta Urkelitz, Municipal Court Assistant Court Clerk, going from 1661 to 1762, effective December 2nd, 2020. Stacy Snyder, Police Department Administrative Lieutenant, going from 2853 to 2939 per hour, effective November 2nd. Lauren Prismas, Park Department Park Supervisor, going from 2862 to 2919 per hour, effective November 2nd. Jeff Woodward, Public Works Director, going from 4683 to 4777, effective November 2nd. And Jacob Weard, Street Department, Equipment Operator 1, going from 1945 to 2024, effective November 2nd.
I move that we approve the 5 wages as read.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the next item is consideration of approval of investments. I know that Janetta warned you that we had a number of CDs that were coming due, and we didn't expect to have very high rates for CDs to be bid, and you're seeing that today. There are 3 CDs with First Bank Kansas at $500,000. These are 12-month CDs. The interest rate for those are 0.09. Those CDs will mature on October 27th of 2021. One CD at $500,000 with a 6-month CD at .06. That will mature on April 27th of 2021. Just as a note, these CDs were both previously 1.84% and 0.45 respectively. Also, there will be a couple of other CDs. One at First Bank Kansas, another one for $500,000. It's a 6-month CD at .06. That will mature on April 28th of 2021. It was previously 0.45% interest. First Bank Kansas, 3 CDs for $500,000 apiece. These are 12-month CDs at 0.09%. These CDs will mature on October 29th of 2021. These CDs were both previously 1.77%. And then finally, Home State Bank, Citizen State Bank, one CD at $10,000. This is a 12-month CD at 0.5%, and it will mature on October 31st of 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve the investments.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
There are 2 bonds for your consideration today. The first being Lee Contractors out of Inman. It's a $5,000 mechanical bond. And the second is Scooter Plumbing LLC out of Little River, and it's a $5,000 plumbing bond.
I move we accept the bonds.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Under other business, I would just like to request on the fall retreat on the 5th that we look at the interpretation of the noise ordinance, and if there is any question that needs to be on the event form.
Okay.
Just, we will do that in that meeting, and we can put it under the police department.
Okay.
Okay,
I agree.
all right. I would like to recess the city commission meeting, and we'll go into the study sessions. We are now back in session for the city commission meeting, and I would like to come back first to code enforcement 2.1 on the promissory note. Milton has made you aware of this. This is a willingness to start paying $250 a month. The total is $4,500. So that's going to take about a year and a half of payments if they're able to hit everything. As administrators pointed out, there's a lot of work on the part of finance and administration to check up on this all the time. But is there any further discussion you would like to have before any motion is made?
I know that the promissory note's not actually written up yet, so that's the one thing that if you approve today, you just approve it to be formulated in conjunction with the city attorney putting that together.
You just authorize the acceptance.
Yeah,
of the note.
yeah. I move that we move forward with authorization of the promissory note and do the proper work, get the proper signatures, and bring it back to commission.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't think that there was anything else on from my notes in my head. Always rely on the city attorney.
There you
He
go.
writes everything down. Okay, anybody else?
Nope.
All right, I'd like to move that we adjourn the city commission meeting November 2nd, 2020.
Second.
Before we take the vote, I want to remind everybody to vote tomorrow if you haven't voted already. This may be the highest vote total in the country that we've had ever, so, but let's make it as big as we can. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.